The Duggar family facing harsh public backlash following allegations of sexual abuse involving their then teenage son. The stars of the hit reality show 19 Kids and Counting revealing that as many as 5 young girls, including 2 of their own daughters, were alleged victims. Tonight, they're speaking out.
Josh has done some very bad things, and he's very sorry.
Tonight, the Duggar family speaking out for the first time about the secret that has haunted their family for more than a decade.
He was crying, and he had just turned 14, and he said that he had actually improperly touched some of our daughters.
Jim Bob and Michelle sitting down with Fox News' Megyn Kelly about their oldest child, Josh Duggar, now 27, who they say confessed to them as a teenager about inappropriate sexual contact with as many as 5 underage girls, including 2 younger sisters.
He was still a kid, you know, and he was still a juvenile. He wasn't an adult. This was not rape or anything like that. This was like touching somebody over their clothes. There were a couple incidents where he touched them under their clothes. But it was like a few seconds.
The parents stressing tonight that the touching was improper, but that their daughters were either asleep or didn't understand they were being molested.
They weren't even aware. It was like, you know, it wasn't to them. They didn't probably even understand that it was improper touch.
The disturbing details in sharp contrast to the family's squeaky clean image.
This is the story of my family. We're the Duggars.
For years, the Duggars have been portrayed on their TLC show 19 Kids and Counting as a conservative Christian family who played and prayed together.
The ray of hope was that Josh had came and told us, and that his heart was still soft.
It's the latest in a bombshell scandal that broke last week when In Touch magazine released the first of 2 leaked police reports, which say Josh was investigated but never charged for multiple sex offenses. The family says they are victims because the sealed police reports were improperly leaked.
It's been an unprecedented attack on our family.
Josh's sister, Jessa Seawald, and Jill Dillard also breaking their silence, stepping forward, defending their brother.
We're victims. They can't do this to us.
The system that was set up to protect kids, it's greatly failed.
When the scandal broke, Josh Duggar resigned from the Family Research Council, where he espoused conservative political ideals.
I truly believe that every child deserves a mother and a father. And I'm sure grateful for mine.
Possibly marking the end of what looked to be a promising career in politics, where he touted his image as a loving husband and soon-to-be father of 4. During his highly watched wedding to wife Anna in 2008, the couple proudly waiting until they said "I do" to kiss for the first time. 4 years ago, I interviewed Josh and Anna at the Texas Homeschooling Conference where they met.
There's many different definitions of courtship, but for us, it meant really choosing purity, choosing to wait for a lot of things that people would take for granted. So our first kiss was on our wedding day.
Wow.
So
okay, then.
That's what it meant for us.
And just last summer, I spoke to Jim Bob Duggar as he was preparing to give Jill away in marriage.
Giving away your son is nothing like giving away a daughter. It's different because the guy is kind of a protector over the girl, and so to give your daughter away to a guy, you got to be really careful.
It's probably a bigger lump in your throat, Dad.
Yeah, it really is.
His heart. Every time he's talking, he'll tear up.
But tonight we learned Jill was one of the daughters victimized.
What makes a case like this complicated is that you're talking about a child allegedly molesting other children. Those cases always get really difficult. If the authorities had investigated this earlier, the parents could have been charged as well.
The statute of limitations had expired. No charges were ever filed.
They could have been charged for failing to report this in a timely fashion. And that's a felony in the state of Arkansas, and they could have faced the possibility of up to 6 years behind bars.
Josh Duggar himself did not sit down for an interview and only released this statement last week on Twitter and Facebook. I acted inexcusably, for which I'm extremely sorry and deeply regret. I hurt others, including my family and close friends.
I treat a lot of people who have been molested, who have actually molested, and nobody in the family ever reported it. These are wealthy families, a whole range of families that would know or should know to make a report, and it never happens. And that's why these things live in secrecy for so long. So the fact that the Duggars actually did something, reported it, stopped it, tried to make an intervention is really unusual, but it's unusual in a very positive way.
But Dr. Robbie Ludwig says the Duggar family environment may have played a role.
If you live in an environment where you're an adolescent and you are somehow taught or led to believe that your sexual impulses are bad or animalistic, what do you do with those impulses? And I think that's exactly what happened with Josh. You know, he was 14. He probably had a lot of sexual curiosity, impulses. What happened is not okay under any circumstances, but I think there are reasons we need to understand.
Tonight, the Duggars say everyone in their family received counseling from accredited therapists, and that once again they're turning to their faith for guidance.
Our son violated God's principles of doing some improper touching. That was terrible. But yet, I think it's been recently said that what Josh did was inexcusable, but it was not unforgivable.